Let's bring Tone in.
Big Sales, how you feeling today, sir?
Oh, good, my friend. Hey, what'd you make of Rohan?
Man, legend. The lion mindset.
Yes,
For sure,
that's what
man.
he loves. That.
He had a really dope interview, I think a few years back on Brandon Marshall's I Am Athlete. And that was my first introduction into him, really hearing him speak. And seeing him on the program, that was legendary, man. That was awesome. That was really something to behold, truly.
A lot of love between me and him.
Definitely, man. Definitely. You could tell he speaks from the heart.
Yep. I really love the guy.
I was so glad he reached back out to me saying, "Hey, I'm so sorry we couldn't connect." It was so dope. It was so dope. But again, I'm glad we had him on.
Yep. He goes like this to me: "Don't bring my ex up." And I said, "Come on, man, you gotta let me bring her up."
Never.
I go, all right, I won't, man.
Oh man.
Hey, he goes like this. She's coming to the premiere though. So Lauryn Hill's going to the premiere.
That's good.
Dude, I've actually sat down and had drinks with them folks. They're solid folks, man. Anyway, all right. So let me ask you something. Let me start where I was at just a couple seconds ago.
Right.
You think A.J. Brown helped Jalen Hurts last year?
I look at it like this. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation because it really allows you to put things into perspective. The bottom line is the Philadelphia Eagles went 11-6. Jalen Hurts turned the ball over 20 times. They lost. They went 1-7 in their final 8 games. No one was nowhere to be found. The offense was inept. We can talk about that 10-1 start, but it's 17 games in the season. So again, AJ Brown was on fire the first half of the season. Second half of the season, he went cold. Quarterback went cold. Everybody went cold. Nobody helped anybody. So knowing what I know and looking at the full sample size and not just hanging on to the low-hanging fruit being those numbers he put up, which helped him, the reality is he did not help the Philadelphia Eagles' bigger picture. And the bigger picture is to win the Super Bowl. That's the fact of the matter. So that's not me saying A.J. Brown's a bad player.
No.
That's not me saying A.J. Brown is invaluable. That's not me saying A.J. Brown is a detriment to the Philadelphia. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I felt like they became too, especially in the grand scheme, it got to a point where they became too dependent. It got to a point where the offense was funneling through him and the offense became predictable. So, A.J. Brown put up a lot of his numbers. But in that 7-game stretch or 8-game stretch, he really was a non-factor. So, again, I look at it like this, man. It just the approach was bad. I think A.J. Brown's talent, how exceptional he is, I think the coordinators and the coaches got lazy and they thought they could just throw the ball to A.J. and he'll fix everything. And that's not how football works. You got to feed you got to feed your wolves. You got to feed everybody.
Tone, doesn't it look like the more they fed him, the more they lost at the end?
You know what's so funny? He wasn't leading the league in targets like in that first half of the season. Then out of nowhere, it just started piling up on the back end, and he ended up leading the league in targets. So that's a fair assessment, but I think their problems are definitely go well beyond A.J. Brown for sure. But again, I think if you want this Philadelphia
Eagles, 30
Eagles
passes, Tone, and I know 15 or 18 of them are going to him,
that's an easy cover.
It's an easy cover.
That's an easy cover.
I'm going to slide my defense to him.
Yeah, of course. So I think their problems go far beyond AJ, but again, if we want this Philadelphia Eagles offense to be a true top tier offense, for them to be potent and a threat, we need more players than AJ Brown to touch that rock. And I think that should be fairly simple to understand.
Okay, I'm going to go on tomorrow with Bill Calarulo, and I'm looking forward to it because Bill, it's not a horrible take. Actually, he's actually thinking, and it's good.
Yeah,
his notion is that you shouldn't pay Jason Kelce $10 million.
I think that's a bargain.
It is a bargain. He's still the best in the sport. Okay, and I would say this to you: who's going to help the Eagles win and turn this offense around more next year? AJ Brown or having Jason Kelce in your offense?
I think Jason Kelce's value is immeasurable. Is immeasurable?
It completely is.
He's a large. It's funny. People give a lot of credit to AJ Brown for, expediting Jalen Hurts' growth.
I think it's Kelce.
And I think, okay, that's fair to say to an extent, but I look at Jason Kelce as the guy who helped him truly understand the game and helped keep Jalen Hurts on schedule.
That
You know what
entire
I
old
mean?
line, actually.
That whole entire old line. I think Jason Kelce's value goes beyond what we can actually see.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Listen, I want Jason Kelce back. If he can come back at 10 million, I think that's a bargain. And we know it's not about the money for him right now. We know that's not what it's about. He's at the top of his. You can get if you can get away with paying an All Pro, a first team All Pro, $10 million. You better take that.
Here again. You know, he made a comment about you take the name out with emotion. I don't give a shit about the name.
No, it's not. It's not emotion. Listen,
that's the problem with the Eagles.
Okay.
They care more about the name than they do the production. The guy's still producing. But listen, I don't give a shit about the name.
I'm so glad you said that. You know, okay, take out the name, take out the emotion. Okay, no problem. What team is giving up a first team All Pro center? I took out the name, I took out the emotion. I'm focusing on production. First team All Pro at the age of 36, Pro Bowler, didn't miss a game. I'm taking out emotion. I'm taking out the name. Who lets that walk out the door?
How about this too? At the end of the day, okay, $10 million for the best center in the sport. Okay, say he goes down and Father Time jumps on his ass and he drops 25%. 75% of Jason Kelce is better than 90% of any center in the league. And so far, I haven't seen that. And the tush push will go away. He is responsible for that. And in my opinion, that entire old line has been more instrumental in the development of Jalen Hurts than anything to do with the wide receivers. Because what's the most important thing? What's the point of having a $50 million quarterback when you got a $2 old line? You don't build championship teams from the perimeter in.
You build from inside out.
You build them from the center out.
Yep. You want to know what Jalen Hurts said? I think it was going into this season, the season that just ended. It was last offseason. I think they asked him. I can't remember exactly what was said, but they asked him about guys coming back, right? And one of the they asked him, how do you feel? Do you think are you guys going to be able to bring everybody back, or how do you feel about the team being able to bring these people back? And he and I'm paraphrasing. He said, well, is Jason Kelce coming back? And they were like, yeah. He was like, all right, that's all I need to know. Yeah, that's what he said. So he understands the value of Jason Kelce being in that huddle. And I think we need to truly understand the value of having that man in that huddle.
Tone, I said something, and you're right, and I've said it as well. I don't know what Kellen Moore is going to bring to the team. I have no idea. We have to wait and see in September how it looks. However, was he brought in your opinion, to have him look like a better version of 23 or a better version of 22?
If I'm answering your question directly without any filler, I think they brought him in to be a better version. I think they brought him in to make Jalen Hurts a better version of the 23 season. If I'm answering your question directly without any filler.
He's not going to win.
Now, obviously, there's more that goes into that. But again, if I had to ask myself, what's their vision for Jalen Hurts?
You didn't pay him for that.
Oh, I understand. I understand that. And I'm all about look, here's my side of things, right? I love Jalen Hurts' skill set. I think the athleticism is always going to be dangerous to an extent. But there's going to get to a point where the athleticism begins to fade. Right? I think
get a new guy.
I hear that. But right now, I look at Jalen Hurts as a guy.
Wanting to get married or win Super Bowls?
I look at Jalen Hurts as a guy that can win a Super Bowl.
He wanted to call me a dick there, folks. So just so you know, I know your expressions now, Tone. Go ahead.
I look at Jalen Hurts as a guy who actually can throw the ball from the pocket. Since we're on the pocket conversation, I do want to bring up here we are right here, Jalen Hurts pocket stats. All right. So and this was posted. I want to add context to it. This was posted on October 30th of 2023 at the time. From that point, since the start of the 2022 season, Jalen Hurts in the pocket was had a 72.7 completion percentage, over 5,000 yards passing, 31 passing TDs, 12 INTs. He averaged almost 9 yards an attempt with a 107.1 passer rating. So he can throw the ball from the pocket. Is he the most electric thrower like a Herbert or Allen? No. Can he throw the ball like Stafford? No. But he can deliver the rock from the pocket. So I look at him as a guy who can get better. Again, I believe that I believe if you marry his growth as a passer with that athleticism, I think he can be lethal. But again, I have no idea what Kellen Moore is going to provide. But I would like to think Kellen Moore is smart enough to be able to look at Jalen Hurts and say, all right, this is what you're strong at. This is what you're weak at. We're going to always lean into what you do well, but at the same time, we need to expand in your skill set and make you a better quarterback so you can stand the test of time. So I understand your perspective, and I don't think your perspective is off the wall. I think I just have a lot tied into Jalen Hurts than you do, obviously.
Okay. Here's how I look at him. I think he's a top 15 passer. But when I put him in and I go back to his 22 and put him in a skill set, I think he's a top 3 quarterback. When you move him further away from that 22 season and you want him to be a pocket passer, he's like the rest of them fucking dudes. Okay? And guess what? Like I said to you, last decade, only 3 first-rounders have made it to the Super Bowl. One's won it. Winning those things is not easy. Guys put up a lot of numbers. Hey,
right.
Judd. So what is he, Josh Allen? Okay. If you're comfortable with that, you're all right then. He's going to have Josh Allen seasons. High turnovers, win some games, a couple division titles, but you're not winning a Super Bowl with that, dude. You know what you're winning it with? That guy that strikes fear in you. And coordinators not knowing where. Jalen Hurts in 22, the greatest asset he had was he was unpredictable. His worst asset he had in 23 was he was predictable. Okay? I mean, it was so blatantly. And as the season went on, I'll tell you what really hurt the Eagles was the amount of those great coordinators that they were playing early in the year. More intel, more intel, more intel, more intel. Shit, by week 11, they knew where the ball was going, and they knew the 2 plays. Like I was evaluating. Shit, it got to a point where the defensive coordinators are going, shit, the Eagles are playing 10 players on 11. They don't even use wide out number 3.
Yeah.
They're not even going there. Dude, you could have put a linebacker on that.
Yeah, and also, it got to a point in the season where you saw people saying blatantly, the Eagles are running the same plays. They're not even trying to reinvent the damn thing. They're just running the same plays. So, again, I look at Jalen Hurts and I say, this guy's talented. He can play the quarterback position, and the Eagles can do a lot worse. And also
completely.
Yeah, and again, he's in the NFC. So I think about that and I say, okay, obviously he doesn't have to go through the gauntlet that is the AFC. So his chances of making it back to the big game is definitely higher just based off of that alone. But the NFC is improving. You got Jordan Love coming, right? The Lions are getting better. It looks like Brock Purdy's going to be here to stay. So he's going to have some people to go up against in that conference.
Why do they hate the 22 season so bad in Philly? Management.
That's an interesting question. Why do they hate it? I don't know if they hate it.
They sure got away from it.
But as a matter of fact, it's funny. You asked me this a while back. You said, do I think the Philadelphia Eagles do I think the Philadelphia Eagles have buyer's remorse? I think you asked me that a while back. And actually, you asked me why are they trying to change what they bought? That's what it was. Why are they trying to change what they bought?
And turning it into a Volkswagen.
Right. So let me ask you this, right? How far can someone get only focusing on what they do well instead of trying to hone their weaknesses?
Tom Brady did it for 22 years. Check down, check down, check down, check down, check down, check down, check down.
But he also became a better downfield thrower as his career progressed.
Let me ask you this here.
He became a better thrower. And go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
If you take 35,000 shots.
And also Tom Brady's an anomaly. I try not to compare guys to that.
Steph Curry, and I take 35,000 3-point shots in practice. You think Steph Curry's working on going to the rim? You think he's working on, two things Steph Curry does exceptionally well. You know what that is? Movement without the ball and his 3-point shooting. And plus, tremendous leadership.
But
he's
here's the
awesome
thing.
without the ball.
But here's the thing.
You think he works on any of that other? You think he works on defense?
The 3-point shot never leaves you.
How about this? You think he works on defense?
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
But,
wait a minute.
Also,
you just told me he has to work on some of his weaknesses.
You should. Hold on, wait. Time's out here. Let's make this clear. When it comes to anything you're trying to be successful at, if you only leaning on 1 or 2 things you do well, you're never going to make it but so far. There's limitations. There's limitations on your success. At the end of the day, Jalen Hurts' dual threat nature, you say it all the time. It doesn't last long. You would never build around that, correct?
That's right.
So therefore, and also when you have stability,
ceiling.
And then also when it has a low ceiling. So based off the Kellen Moore hire, and again, I have no idea what he's going to bring. I believe based off that hire, they're trying to raise the ceiling.
Why?
And what do you mean why?
Okay, so
stability at the quarterback position is key.
Something that makes him lesser the player to try to get 15 years out of him instead of playing a guy for 8 years and wins you 2 Super Bowls doing what he does best.
That you're implying that he can't get better at throwing the ball.
Well, have at it.
And also you're implying
I'll wait all those years in for him.
And then you're implying the athleticism is just going to hang around. The athleticism goes before anything else.
I haven't seen very good results of it.
Well, again, I don't think this year alone was just based off of Jalen Hurts' ineptitude. I think this year has so many other issues than just that position. It was shitty coaching. The defense was awful. So it was a combination of so many things. Again, I'm not making it. I'm going to make this clear too.
No, I know you're not. We're having a debate.
Yeah, of course.
So basically, Jalen Hurts has had 2 first-year starter years. The 21 year and now this one, because this is a completely different guy than the year previous.
I wouldn't say
completely different guy.
I wouldn't say completely different. I think that's a stretch. Completely different. I wouldn't say that.
Rushing attempts, less RPOs.
I wouldn't say
more turnovers, more picks. Okay.
I wouldn't say a completely different year. I will say from what I saw a guy that looked slower. I saw a guy that was making worse decisions than he did the year before. I saw a guy that was getting a lot of his passes tipped at the line and that was getting returned for picks. I saw a guy that fumbled a lot. I also saw a head coach that didn't know what he was doing. And I saw a defense that couldn't stop a nosebleed. So everything about that Philadelphia Eagles team was in the toilet. So if I'm betting on anybody to take their game to the next level, because I'm looking at it like this, right? Although Jalen Hurts did put up, 80 rushing yards in the Super Bowl? He did. I think it was something like that. He threw for over 300 yards. He passed
over 400 yards in that game?
He passed his ass off. He was delivering the ball from the pocket.
So he had 400 yards, right? He had 400 yards?
I think, something like that. I think. But my overall point is, I look at Jalen Hurts and I see a guy that can throw the ball. I see a guy that can habitually average 66, 67% completion percentage. I see a guy that can play around with the 3,800, 4,000 yard passing yards. I see a guy who can flirt with 25 to 30 passing touchdowns. And again, I understand your angle. You're looking at it like this. Look, this guy is an RPO guy. His skill set is dangerous. Lean into it. And at the end of the day, maximize these next 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
He's the best RPO quarterback I've ever seen, including Lamar.
Right. I understand that. And also, this is even more to your point, right? The Baltimore Ravens are saying, look, we're leaning into what this guy does well, nothing else. And I can respect that angle, right? But in some circles, and I'm not saying this is fact or fiction, but in some circles, people that you had on the show, they think Hurts is a better pure passer than Lamar.
Yes.
So if I know that, I'm going to nurture that, and I'm going to try to build that up.
Both.
You can't develop athleticism; it fades.
No, I'm talking the run game and.
How about this? See, this is what he needs. Hold on, real quick. This is what he needs, in my opinion. He needs running backs. That's what he really needs, because in my opinion,
but your GM doesn't believe in him,
and that's a whole nother conversation.
That's right. Look,
because I think what doesn't get talked about enough is the impact Miles Sanders had last year. I think what they need to do is, again, to take some stress off of Jalen Hurts in that running game, bring some real running backs in the building. That way, you can still have that balance. You can still keep guys off balance on the opposition. So I'm still rolling with Jalen Hurts. I'm still rolling the dice on that table.
Okay, let me ask you something here. And
right.
Let's see, 17, 18. In the last 18 games, has Jalen Hurts played better than the Super Bowl? Was there one game?
You say that one more time, my friend?
Is there one game since that Super Bowl that he played against the Chiefs in the last 18 games that you think he played better in?
Since that game?
Since that game.
No, that game was magic.
Okay.
No, if I'm keeping it real, with myself.
So he didn't get better from that Super Bowl for 18 ball games.
To answer your question directly, he didn't play a game that matched that performance. No, he has not.
And struck the fear in you. Because personally, I think if Hurts gets that ball back at the end of the game, he wins it.
I agree with that. But
and he would have won it with his legs.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. He scored the game time 2-point conversion with his legs. so to your point, yeah. I mean, listen. Like the bottom line is right. I think what it is what we're having right here is we're just having a philosophical headbutt here, right? And I think that's okay.
See, you want him to play 15 years. I want to get the best out of him for 8 or 9. And it's gravy and a cherry on top if he plays 12. Trey can play 12.
Right.
I mean,
I hear you.
I don't give a fuck about 8 years from now. I care about September 6th.
I hear you. And remember when we talked about this before, one of the things you and I were in agreement on is, look, I want to do what he does well. I don't care about health. I don't care about nothing. And I do feel that way. I want Jalen Hurts to be the best version of him. Now, in saying that, do I think Jalen Hurts can improve as a passer? Yes. Do I think he can improve do I think he can improve in the pocket presence? Do I think he can improve as just an overall thrower of the football? I do. And that's what I'm banking on. And again, you asked me the direct question, was the Kellen Moore hire to bring back 22 or expand on 23? And just based off of their decision, I would have to guess that they're trying to build off of 23.
I agree.
Because again, and also I want to make this clear too. I didn't want Cliff Kingsbury or Kellen Moore.
I would have hired Greg Roman.
I didn't want neither of those guys, but he's here. So now
I got to hire Greg Roman.
So now I got to make sense of the hire.
See, Greg Roman makes more sense to me for Jalen than
he just got hired somewhere. Where did he get hired at?
Chargers.
He's
now the OC for Herbert. You know what they're working on with Herbert? Moving around in the pocket.
I was just
running RPOs.
Okay, now let me ask you this. I'm glad you said that. Because Greg Roman is known for working with Lamar Jackson.
Got Lamar that MVP award, led the NFL in touchdown passes.
Why isn't Greg Roman leaning into what Herbert does well? Why add the RPOs? Why expand his game? Why?
It's a great comment, but the true play caller in that building is Jim Harbaugh. So he's brought in for a specialty. That's the RPO part of it.
So why? Well, why though? Why bring him in for that? That's not what Herbert does well.
Because they're trying to create another dynamic that the Eagles are trying to take away from Jalen Hurts.
And the Eagles are trying to create another dynamic for Jalen Hurts to become a better pocket quarterback.
But he's not the passer Herbert is.
And Herbert's not the runner Jalen Hurts is.
Okay, I get you're right. We're saying the same thing here.
Exactly. That's all.
But here, again, Jalen Hurts, I just don't believe is going to win Super Bowls from the pocket. I do not believe that.
And all I can do.
He wasn't an MVP candidate because of his arm.
I hear you. I understand what you're saying, but all I can do is
he threw for 22 touchdowns.
All I can do is respect your opinion, and then we'll find out. That's all I can do. That's all I can do, man.
No, I don't think any of us are wrong here.
It's just a philosophical difference. That's all.
Yep, absolutely. See, I don't believe you're right. It is. I believe more in a guy who's going to win from the pocket with the arm. You think Hurts is going to get better as a passer, and you want to go through growth and developing his arm.
Oh no, don't get it twisted. I want to win now. Don't get it twisted.
Well, that's gonna.
I want to
they
win
took a
now.
step backwards this year trying to change them.
I definitely want to win now, but I also think they didn't
You think
have
the
somebody.
Eagles wanted to win this year?
That's a good question. I also think that they didn't have somebody in the building that knew what they were doing.
Okay.
So, I think that's a part of it too.
Let's do something fun here.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to go back, and as they're getting ready for free agency, when is that, Tone? When is free agency? How many weeks away?
Let's see. NFL free
I
agency.
got to think that's March.
Okay, so
what is it?
All right, here we go.
Is it in February? After February 17th or something?
Okay, all right, here we go. It says February 20th. Beginning this date through 4 p.m. New York time on March 5th, clubs designate franchise or transition players. February 27th through the 4th, NFL Scouting Combine. March 5th, prior to 4 p.m. Eastern time, deadline for clubs to designate franchise or transition players. So teams have until March 5th to put the franchise tags on guys. And then March 11th through the 13th, during the period beginning 12 p.m. noon Eastern time, clubs are permitted to contact and enter into a contract negotiation with certified agents of players who will become unrestricted free agents. So that's legal tampering period.
Yep.
And then March 13th, the league year and free agency signing period begins at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So March 13th. March 13th.
March 13th.
March 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Legal tampering starts March 11th.
So right now, what teams are doing, they're looking at the roster and they're looking at every single position room and every single thing on their roster as they're getting ready for free agency.
Right.
Then I believe the 27th is the April draft, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be the second part of it. I think it's April through May 4th.
Yep, April 25th through the 27th is the draft. Yes.
27th. Okay, that's the draft. So what I did in the first hour, and I'm going to do it now with you, I'll go back here.
Yes.
And I'm going to go down the list here, and I want you to follow up if you think it's wrong or right in my takes here on this here. And I'm going to do the easy part of the team first. I'm going to do the offense. So I'm saying this with Hurts. He's the dude. I have no problem with him. I believe that they're hiring good quality coordinators and assistant coaches around him. I don't know, but here's my problem again. You know what makes me concerned about the room and about him? You went from one extreme and one dynamic where you hired nobodies to where you're hiring
a bunch of somebodies. Yeah, everybody's.
It just makes it look inconsistent.
It makes it look like you made a huge mistake the year before. It just looks. It looks very knee-jerkish, right?
How about this? Look at the Chargers. So they hire the kid Jesse Minter from Michigan, who worked with both Harbaughs as coordinator of defense. You got Greg Roman there as the offense coordinator, and you got Harbaugh. They're doing everything in their power to make sure they get the most out of Herbert.
Right.
With all these quality coaches on both sides of the ball, right. A play-calling head coach, everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if that dynamic – they kind of did that in Philly. But
they should have went all in.
Dude in the building that is the worst dude in the building to keep.
They should have went all in.
All in. They didn't go all in.
Me and John talk about this all the time, and me and him agree. If you were going to dismantle his whole staff and bring in all these experienced people, why the hell did you keep him in the building? It's very similar. It's very similar to the Sean Desai situation, which makes me feel like it was their decision to demote Sean Desai because it mirrors it perfectly. Why keep a guy in the building if you're already going if you're going to neuter him? Why keep him? So, because you care about how people view you?
Yep.
No, you should care about getting it right rather than how people view you.
Exactly. And I don't believe I think getting it right is part of it, but I think looking right is more important to them.
And that's my problem.
It's totally a problem.
I don't care about how listen, I don't give a damn how people see me. Did I produce?
That's right. You know what they'll see me doing? Lifting a Lombardi trophy. That's all I care a shit about.
Right.
How I look in losses.
Right. People have short-term memory in this league anyway.
That's right. Running back room, Swift. I said this, money will be an issue. And quite frankly, to me, I don't think he's a power back. I don't think he was an upgrade. By the way, I think he had a really good season. I think he's a fine ball player. But get this. You know what he is? He's not Steph Curry. He's more of a Klay Thompson. He's the other shooting guard. He's a number 2 guy. He's my second guy in the building. I need someone else in there that's more of the 20s to 20 guy, or Swift can be 20 to 20, and I need somebody from 20 in, because he's not the guy from 20 in. And so he's limited. He's not a good pass blocker. I think they can upgrade that position. How about this? If I got 850 yards out of a running back next year with that O-line that I've invested so much money in, and I drafted a guy who's one of the best pass blockers and pass pro guys when it comes to pass protection, did I not upgrade the running back?
Hey, if they could block, it's an upgrade no matter who's out there.
That's right.
So, right.
I'm protecting a $50 million guy. I don't give a shit about Swift's numbers.
Look, that's why I love what the Lions did. The Lions had a perfect balance between, if you noticed, when they had a perfect balance between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And if you notice, when David Montgomery went out, that running attack was not the same, because Gibbs doesn't run with power. He's a guy you use in the pass game. He's a guy that's elusive. He can get out. He get out in open space, things like that. I've been preaching this for a long time. I think the Philadelphia Eagles need to rebuild their running back room the same way how it was built in that 2017, 2018 year. You had a combination of power, speed, and pass catching ability, and they all could block. So I don't understand why they keep having these dudes out there that can't block. Like Miles Sanders really couldn't block like that. They haven't had a good blocking running back since
LeGarrette Blount.
Yeah. They haven't had a strong, like a legit running back that can block since
that dude will blow you up.
J.J.
I've seen him. I know him. I've seen him blow people up in Tampa.
Right. So again, I think they need to go back to that. And I've always liked running back rooms with a combination of power and pass catching ability.
Yeah,
always. I like physical running backs.
You have to have a dual threat running game.
You have to, especially if you're not investing big money into one guy. Then make sure you bring the right guys in then, because you got flexibility. It's common sense.
Now we'll go to the receivers. A.J. Brown, ton of money, great player, a lot of production, a lot of targets. I mean, I'm not moving him this year, but he's not here long.
Yeah, if I'm being honest with myself, I don't think he finishes his career here.
No way.
And that's no. And again,
if he gets
I hate that we even got to do this. I hate that we even got to do this.
I know, because it sounds like we're shitting on him, and I'm not.
It's like we're trying to talk business here. We're trying to talk numbers here. We're trying to talk money, and I don't know if and I don't know if he finishes his career here. I know Devontae Smith is going to finish his career here. I know that for a fact, because they drafted him. And you know how the Eagles love their draft picks. So I know he's going to finish his career here. And I know that guy has real skill, real talent. So A.J. Brown, moving him this year would be unfeasible. You will incur the biggest dead cap hit, that you probably could ever take on. But maybe the following year or the year after that, I think the Eagles are going to start thinking about how can they rebuild, how can they retool this offense to make it a little bit more balanced. Again, that has to coincide with the quarterback getting better, because look, at the end of the day, right, when you really about some of the best situations at quarterback, some of these guys right now, they really got one guy, maybe they got one legit wide receiver and a competent tight end.
Yeah.
Right. And then the other receiver is like, maybe a C plus B minus guy or whatever. The Eagles right now got 2 A plus receivers. That's not something that lasts you for 10 years. So that's why them not winning that Super Bowl last year was so damning. It's damning. That's why their window, quite frankly, is short.
Yeah.
Because eventually they're going to have to pay the piper when it comes to Devontae Smith, and eventually A.J. Brown, depending if he's still producing at that level or not, he's going to want to re-up. And guess what? I don't know if that happens in Philadelphia. I just don't. And again, this has nothing to do with the guy's play. He's a tremendous player. He helps make the offense better.
Completely.
But you have to have a more balanced offensive attack. You have to make everybody a threat on that. That's my humble opinion. I think offenses are more lethal when you have more people that can do things with the ball.
Do you think the $60 million is worth having him on the team?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you throw the ball to him, he go and catch it. So he's valuable. You know, he produces. He does. Okay, I put it this way. He does his job. You know, he doesn't make anybody throw him the ball. He doesn't call the plays. The ball comes to him, he
Does it
catches
make
it.
the team better?
So say it again.
Does it make the team better? Does he make the team better?
Yes. Now, here's another. Now, I think
Last
the
8
important
games, I didn't see it.
Yeah, but I don't put that on him. I don't think again, AJ doesn't call the plays. I don't blame AJ for what went down. I look at AJ as a guy, he show up, he's a wide receiver. He can't throw himself the ball. You know, he doesn't call the plays.
So it's Jalen's fault.
Jalen has to wear that. Yes. Jalen fell in love with that target. It's okay to say that.
It is. I'm not. No.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Not you. But I'm just saying, like, it's okay to say Jalen Hurts he fell in love with that target. He did. You know what I mean? AJ Brown didn't lead the NFL in targets for nothing. He fell in love with that target. You know, AJ Brown was he was dominant all year, so you can kind of understand it. But you have to be more disciplined as a quarterback to understand that you got to get your other guys involved because your offense is more lethal that way. When you keep targeting the same guy, your offense becomes predictable.
Do you think
it's very obvious?
Do you think AJ? Because last year I don't think AJ helped Jalen Hurts at all. I mean, high turnovers, targeting, predictability.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it, but I will say I'll ask you this: I do think AJ Brown helped Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I do. Also, I need to find out if there's a stat that shows which, like, depending on who you targeted, who led to the most interceptions. You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, targeting this player, how many interceptions came from targeting him, targeting this guy? I need to find out what that is.
He made more tougher throws to AJ Brown than to Devontae Smith.
Yes. Like, it's
why? Why wouldn't you want to go to the? Brady says it all the time. Why not go to the easier throw? And if you have to punt, you have to punt. Why is that such a questionable thing in Philly to do, where you have to have conversations on Monday morning with the owner and the GM on why you threw 7-8 checkdowns, but you still won the game? Why do I have to go there telling an answer to that when, as long as you win the freaking game, that's all that truly matters in the end here?
That was my biggest problem with the Doug Peterson era. Why is he answering questions about how they won the game? They won the game. I don't understand it.
I wouldn't have a meeting if we won.
Right. We won the game. Now, if we lost.
We got blown out 31-7. We have a conversation. I want to know what happened.
And here's the thing, right? Real football people understand that every game has a complexion to it, has a tone to it, and you can't
completely different. If there's 12, if there's 17 chapters in a book, Tone, every single game is its own entity of a chapter.
Yeah, and you can, and every game you can't approach the exact same way.
Gotta be
you know what I mean? Every game doesn't call for you to throw the ball 50 times.
Correct.
It doesn't. As a matter of fact, in my humble opinion, if you throw the ball 50 times, that means you're losing. So, by my logic,
the ball 47 times in that AFC Championship game, you knew immediately they were losing.
Exactly. And in my humble opinion, the less you throw the ball, that means the more games you're winning.
That means you're dominating at the point of attack and running the ball down your throat.
Exactly. Throwing the ball, like, it's, we're in this. And this is where we talk about analytics taking over the game, and it's frustrating to me. It's very simple, and they make this game. I hate when nerds get a hold of something very primal. You know what I mean? Football is a primal. Football is a primal sport. It's like Rohan Marley said, it's the lion mindset.
Yeah.
When it comes to football, you know what I mean? We're not. This isn't a. It's not a. It's not
a game for the faint of heart.
Yeah. So again, why are we like? I can't stand when nerds get a hold of it because they're trying to turn it into a pageant, like a beauty pageant contest. Last time I checked, it's called football. So again, I look at it like this: I'm going to be physical. I'm going to punch you in the mouth. I'm going to kick your ass, and I'm going to make sure you feel it the next day. Like all this high flying and pretty boy shit. Like, nah, man, it's time to get physical, baby. And that's the kind of football I like.
And speaking of that, WR2. Let me say this to you about this kid, and I love saying this about him. Man, I'll tell you what, of all the players on your football team, and I don't really like to fall in love with anybody, but man, I mean, he is just a polished Ferrari,
Mhm.
Pininfarina painting, the Pirellis, as advertised, um, hands, route tree, all the
Durability.
shittiness that they throw at him with those shitty
Mhm.
routes, still does it. Tap toes the sidelines,
Mhm.
phenomenal hands, works hard, great leader,
Keeps his
great
head
team,
down.
awesome in the huddle. That kid is so he is really a fantastic football player. I mean, I was wrong about him. I thought he'd be less durable. I thought he'd be like that Jameson Williams kid who's always hurt in Detroit.
A lot of people did.
I
It's
thought
okay
he'd
though.
be that guy.
But here's
This
the
guy's
thing
a really
though.
spectacular player.
What you're saying though is not like random. A lot of people felt that way. The biggest knock on him coming out of college was, damn, can he hold up?
Oh, I
That
didn't think he
man
could.
he's taking some shots, and he got right
Yeah.
up. He caught the
Yep.
ball the next play, and he's getting so much better at the catch point too. You know what I mean? Like year one, we kind of had some. I kind of had some questions about, okay, if it's a 50-50 ball, can he go up and get it? I had some questions about that. Year two, he proved me wrong. He went up,
Yep.
climbed the ladder, was snatching it, taking hits. One of my favorite moments from Devontae Smith was in that Washington game in 2022. Jalen Hurts threw a beautiful deep ball. Actually, it wasn't even perfect, but Jalen Hurts threw the deep ball. Devontae Smith jumped up and mossed 2 Washington DBs and landed at the 2-yard line. The Eagles went hurry up, and I think they called a timeout, and it was like a 4th down or a 3rd down. It was at halftime, and they went right. And remind you, Devontae Smith's on the ground heaving because he landed on his back, so he got the wind knocked out of him. He got right back up on the same play because they went hurry up. Got up, caught the touchdown, mossed the guy again with one lung working. the dude is fierce. He's fierce.
Do you know my
I
favorite?
rock with Devontae.
You know what my favorite moment is with him? You're right. My favorite moment was when it was either this year or last year. He had no catches and no yards.
That was week 1, Detroit.
And he came in and someone said something. He didn't make a comment. He didn't say anything. Just went about his business and didn't complain, didn't say anything. And in today's environment of wide receivers, when you're a first-round draft choice like that,
top 10,
and you're looked at to be a guy who's supposed to come in here and be one of the better receivers in the history of the program, and you don't do anything, or like say when you only get 2 catches and 20 yards or something, like a couple games this past year early in the season, I look at that and I go like this. It's a guy I'm not really concerned with his numbers. He's concerned with winning games. And I believe him. See, I don't believe Devontae Adams. I don't believe Justin Jefferson. I don't believe Stephon Diggs. I really don't believe A.J. Brown. That they would rather have wins over catches. I think that's a trend in the NFL today with the wide receivers. I think Cooper Kupp wants to win ball games. He took less money to stay in Los Angeles.
I think Mike Evans wants to win ball games.
I think Mike Evans wants to. I do too. I think Mike Evans is that. I don't think Tyreek Hill. But I think Devontae Adams is one of those guys who does not want to win. He'd rather have catches. But when I look at Devontae Smith, I don't think he's concerned with that. I think he's one of the receivers that you would want. And Brady, can you imagine him and Tom Brady? Good night. That would be frightening.
That's Neo and Morpheus. That'd be something.
How about him and Mahomes?
That'd be crazy, man.
Dude,
that'd be crazy.
Him and Burrow would be insane.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If the Eagles don't do him right, and I don't know who his agent is, I hope he hires the biggest dick possible.
Let me find out.
So I would go to the Philadelphia Eagles and go, I'm going to send his ass to Mahomes, or I'm going to send his ass to Burrow, or I'm going to send his ass to Jim Harbaugh. And I'll tell you what, you better pony up $25 million because he'll get it.
Oh, listen to this. Devontae Smith is signed to Clutch Sports with Jalen Hurts. Both Nicole
handle him?
Nicole doesn't handle Devontae though. Nicole handles Hurts. He's handled by Kelton Crenshaw.
Okay.
I'm not sure who that is, but but they're both signed. They're both signed to Clutch Sports.
He has a dick guy. I mean that in a positive way.
No, I hear you.
What I mean is he's not going to walk out of the room like this. Yeah, we'll take the 5th highest paid number. He'll want to walk out of the room with get this. He'll walk out of the room with a demand of being paid the highest wide receiver in the league.
Okay, so
and you know what the Eagles will do? The Eagles will fight back and go, that's funny, Tone. I never thought of this. They may keep A.J. Brown on that football team through the contract negotiations of Devontae Smith to get him at a lower price because he's wide receiver 2 right now.
That'd be clever. Kelton Crenshaw, he represents Chase Young, Devontae Smith, Greg Newsome, and Kayvon Thibodeau. And he also represents some other guys, but those are his top 4 clients.
And sounds like he's like the 5th guy in the building in there.
And he represents Will Anderson and DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay. He's moved up a couple of doors in the building now. Okay. Hey, okay. Yeah, all right. Okay.
Oh, man. It says here he's negotiated contracts. His total contract negotiation totals amount to $285.2 million. Good.
Devontae's not that's not going to you think that's going to be an easy sign? That's going
it's not going to be easy sign, but Devontae Smith
and I love my Eagles and
Devontae Smith strikes me stick. Listen, man. Listen,
make it happen.
Listen, no, it's not even about Howard. Listen,
Howie will make it work and put the 2 behind the 4 and the 4 behind the 9.
It's funny you say that. I don't call him Howie anymore. I don't call him Howie anymore. He has to earn that back. He's not Howie. He's Howard now. He's Howard until further notice. He's Howard.
I'm not goofing on anybody.
No, you're good. No, you're fine. But his name is Howard now.
Howard the Duck. All right, hey Tone, I got a serious question to ask you about your offense. How do you feel about going into every football game, knowing that you play 10 on 11, when at wide receiver number 3, and I'm not even going to mention those turds, you have 0 production, you have 0 anything out of it, you get nothing out of it. You play 10 on 11 every single game.
Pretty much.
I mean, what are you going to do with that position? You think Kellen Moore addresses that? That's got to be one of the positions he addresses.
I would like to think so, because me personally, I feel like wide receiver 3 deserves more respect. Those guys are low-key chain movers. Those are the guys, in my opinion, that should have hands like glue, and they should know how to get open. I don't need them to be the fastest. I don't need them to be the biggest.
Blocking the run game.
And blocking in the run game. That's why I felt like they should have did a better job of getting Olamide involved, because every time you threw him the ball, he caught it, and he knew, and he was high effort guy in the blocking game, high effort. But nonetheless, I agree with you. I think you need to get more out of that wide receiver 3 position. I don't know why. When I talk to some people, they kind of dismiss it and say, "Well, you got AJ and Devontae. Why am I throwing it to the number 3 wide receiver?" Because you're trying to make the offense lethal, not just 2 guys. You're trying to expand. You're trying to make them guard everybody, not just 1 guy or 2 guys. You know what I mean? I think
Rico Sirianni never addressed that position. He just never did.
Because you know what they did? They convinced themselves that Quez Watkins was the answer. And my thing is, he's a non-factor. If you're not catching, all I hear is, "Oh yeah, the speed takes the top off his speed takes the top off the defense. He's not catching the ball. What difference does it make?"
You know who Quez Watkins is? You know that last bit of orange juice in the bottle in the refrigerator that no one wants to drink, and you look at someone and you go, "Now, why wouldn't you finish this?" That's who he is.
Quez Watkins is the butt bread.
He's the thing going, "I got to make PJs out of butt bread." Come on, man.
Yeah,
not working for me, man.
Exactly, not working at all.
He's like, "Now, why wouldn't you finish that iced tea?" You see that? That's Quez Watkins' tea right now. I don't want that, man. That's backwash. Drink that shit. I hate that. I look at the refrigerator and I want to get a thing of iced tea, and there's this much in it, and I go, "Now, who would do that?"
Listen, now I know why you're only the Dan Cave. Because you go off.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, here's this now.
Yes, sir.
It's going to sound awful here. Hey, Dallas Goedert, man. You're unreliable, man. I'm just this. I'm like this. I'm right. I'm right here. I'm right here. He makes more money than Travis Kelce.
That's fucking unbelievable.
What, dude? I'm right here, Tone. I'm right. I'm like this close to going. Man, I'm going to move this guy in a trade, and you're going to trade Dallas Goedert. We can't keep missing 20. Well, Tilsey broke his hand. I know. Year before that, it was a knee. Year before that, it was an ankle. Year before that, it was something else. Year before that, every year he's played, he's had something happen. This guy is not reliable.
Simple as that. It's very simple. I would much rather.
I want the guy in Cleveland. He's going to be a free agent.
I would much rather have a guy who's slightly less talented, but he plays all 17 games than a guy who's more talented. And I'll put it this way.
The guy in Washington.
Listen to this. The Cowboys drafted Jake Ferguson, right? He's on a rookie deal. He's outplaying a guy that's a top 5 paid tight end. Make that make sense.
Again, bad money after bad money is on that Eagle payroll right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dude, the money. Dude, you want to hear something? The only great contract that's really there is Malata's and Jalen's.
Yeah. That's you're right. Look, I'm not pulling my punches with this team anymore. I treated them with kid gloves last year, all that kind of stuff. I'm not pulling my punches with this team anymore because what happened this year was unacceptable, Sills. It was unacceptable.
I got it.
How about this? I didn't see you real quick. You and I spoke in the previous offseason and said, look, this defense isn't going to be as good, but week 8, week 9, they should probably start to figure it out.
I thought that.
It was the opposite.
You totally.
They actually played their best, and then it got worse. Who saw that coming?
Nobody.
Who saw the defensive line falling off like that?
It just imploded. So unbelievable. I've never seen an implosion like that. I mean, it was like a sinkhole.
Honestly, you know what it looked like? It looked like somebody put Marilex in a Gatorade, and everybody and everybody just
the bed.
Yeah.
Hey, Malata, you're right. I think Malata's the best athlete on the field and on the team.
He's tremendous.
This guy didn't know how to put a chin strap on 5 years ago. Now he's the 3rd best rated left OT in the sport, and he's worth every penny of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's just completely outstanding. And get this, Dickerson and him, I'm going to make a comparison to you. I think Dickerson and Malata could be a modern-day Art Shell and Gene Upshaw. And for those who don't know, those were 2 Hall of Fame offensive linemen that played over a decade in Oakland with the Raiders, and both went on to Canton. That you solidified for the next decade. Think about this, Tone.
Well, hold on.
Next decade.
Well, hold on. Let's hold on.
Dickerson and Malata, unless you want to move Dickerson to center.
Now, hold on. Let's hold our horses now, right? Because everyone wants to keep AJ Brown, right? Let's hold our horses here. Jordan Mailata, he's going to be a free agent in 2026. Landon Dickerson,
25.
He's going to be a free agent in 2025.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I want Dickerson over Brown any day.
Your left tackle, your left guard. You know what I'm saying?
What's more important?
Who else?
What's more important to Jalen Hurts, Landon Dickerson or AJ Brown?
Jalen Carter's contract. When he gets deeper in. My point in bringing that up is there's going to come a point in time where you have to left tackle, left guard, got to pay those guys. Those guys are going to want top dollar, and the Eagles lock in on the offensive line. They don't play those games. So, by my estimation, and if I'm judging this correctly, AJ Brown's contract is officially up. And let me double check this. AJ Brown's contract he's a free agent in 2027. But you know how wide receivers work. They're going to want their money in 2026. So, what decisions are you making, Eagles fans? Are you paying AJ Brown, or are you making sure Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson eat?
Oh, I'm not letting them out the building.
It's a no-brainer for me.
Because hopefully by then Devontae Smith has developed into the guy I want.
Exactly.
You know what I may do? I may play that game and restructure AJ Brown's deal in 26 for one more season. When did you say Devontae deals up?
25. So Devontae is going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2026. So
yeah,
so
matches up well.
Yep, it matches up because Landon Dickerson and Devontae Smith were drafted in the same draft. Devontae gets the 5th-year option because he's the first round pick.
How he may stagger those extensions.
He's gonna have to do
he
his
may
best.
Stagger him 1 year, then he may come to the table early with Dickerson, like they did with Mulata 2 years ago.
He might.
So that they can stagger the cap. You know what I mean?
So listen, think about this. In 2026, these are the 3 contracts you got to worry about. You got to worry about Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, and Devontae Smith. And meanwhile, AJ Brown's contract ends, or he's an unrestricted free agent in 2027.
I'm not
how we breaking down the bag, Sills?
Well, it's Howie, and I'm gonna, we're gonna work it together.
Howie's gonna make it work somehow, right, Sills? He's the magic man, right, Sills?
Hey, I don't know, man. There's that.
The cap is going up, Sills.
Football that sucks. There's adding and subtracting that comes into this.
Hey, Sills, wait, the cap's going up though.
The
cap's going up.
Yeah, 18%. Guess what? You got two $40 million guys combined and 2 dudes alone.
And guess what? Oh, hold on, wait, real quick now. We're having fun with this, baby. Listen to this. So to keep 2026 in mind, right? AJ Brown expires 2027. Landon Dickerson, Mailata, Devontae Smith expires in 2026. Let's check out the Jalen Hurts cap hits around that time, by the way.
Oh, Jesus, right.
Let's look at that.
Escalate then.
Jalen Hurts' cap hit in 2026, $31.7 million. His cap hit in 2027, $34.8 million. His cap hit in 2028, $42.7 million.
That's not horrible.
It's not, but still.
No, it's not horrible when you have all that other money out there.
When you got all that other money that you got to worry about.
How he can't miss in the draft.
I didn't even talk about defense yet.
We haven't gotten there yet.
We haven't even talked about defense yet.
Listen, hold on for a second. The amount of money that's being spent is because of the deficiencies and the draft picks.
Correct.
He doesn't. Drafting a player gives you the latitude of time to be able to maneuver around when you have to stagger money out. To get Devontae signed, Landon Dickerson signed, what are you going to do with AJ? Restructuring of Hassan. Nolan Smith. If Nolan Smith would have showed up last year, you know what that does? That lessens the time of Reddick on the team. Instead, Reddick now is in a stronger position because the draft pick, Reddick's looking at going, that guy ain't taking my gig for another 2 years. And that you can't be the 31st pick and bomb like that.
Yeah. And look, I want to try to give Nolan Smith a fair shake because they kind of just threw him out there on the back end, and at that time, the defense was shot. I can't blame him, but so much.
When you say that, throwing a guy in there, what the hell do you think we're doing here? Hey, little Jimmy Bobby, like this is like little league football here. Hey, little Bobby, you want to play outside linebacker? Go ahead, try it, kid. What kind of coaching? I'm not saying you're doing. I'm going right. What do you? Hey, little Bobby, why don't we just throw him in there? This is the fucking NFL, dude. What are you talking about here? Let's try this out. Just throw him in there. What kind of coaching are you getting Monday through Friday?
In my opinion, there was no game plan for Nolan. In my opinion, there was no, and I'm not talking about on the field, but I'm talking about as far as just what was their plan for Nolan Smith? I didn't see a plan.
No, it was chaotic. It would just throw him, like you said. That's your observation is exactly what it was. Hey, they threw him out there, Sills, because they threw him out there. That's not coaching and developing, Tone.
Exactly.
Okay.
Listen to this.
I'm gonna pass on because I want to get to the defense because that's the more critical. Kelce, I want him back. Right. Cam Jurgens, I'm okay with. Lane had an A- year. Okay. A- year is an A+ year to everyone else. So let me get over to the defense. Brandon Graham, you're out.
Yes.
Watch this.
Love him to death.
Career.
Love him to death.
Fantastic.
Love him to death. But
we need eagle to people in the city of Philadelphia for the rest of your life. You will never have to buy anything. You'll be revered. People will want you to do everything. If you think Hugh Douglas has opportunities, you're going to have even more because you delivered a Super Bowl.
But I need that roster spot, though.
I need the roster spot in the dough. All right. Here's what I say about Jordan Davis.
He's on the clock, by the way.
He's running out of time. And people asked the question earlier, well, what do you mean he's running out of time? Well, As of right now, you're not getting another deal here.
As of right now, they're not picking up the 5th-year option.
Okay, that's right. I'm not doing that, and I'm not paying you that because you've got 2 more years left. You got 34 games to prove to us that you deserve another contract, and you're the heir apparent to Fletcher.
After 2024, they have to decide if they're going to pick up the 5th-year option. They got to decide.
I'm not doing it.
So he has 1 year
right now.
He actually has 17 games, not 34 games. He has 17 games to prove if he's long-term manager. 17.
Right. He's got 17 games to show us that, because once again, Tone, if they fail on this, they failed on the equity of time. Okay? Then they have to go get a Hargrave and spend money. So when you spend money, you lose money.
Jordan Davis, he has to work. Here's the thing. He has to work. If he doesn't work, this can set them back so far. He has to pan out.
It's more pressure on Jalen Carter.
It puts more pressure on Jalen Carter. You're right. It does. And I don't want that. And
get this. I'm not even going to talk Fletcher or Milton. I'm going to go because the 2 starters, these 2 guys have to be your starters, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. If you go into the 2024 season
and Fletcher's a starter,
you
got a problem.
You got a major problem here. So I look at it this way. Look, I think he had a great first year. I think he ran into that rookie wall, 13 games, 14 games. It looked like everything, like 100 years of football. Do I still think and have high hopes for him being the next Jerome Brown? I absolutely do. I have no problem with him. He's the second player taken in the draft, in my opinion, not the 9th. I don't have a problem with anything with him. I just need to see him do it again.
Yeah.
Sound right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I have no bad things to say about Jalen Carter. He just has to increase that wind. That's all.
I'm going to tell you something that I told Clint Hurt that you gave me because you were keeping an eye on his snap count total. This is what I told Clint not last night, 2 nights ago. He asked me about Sweat, and I go, he's their best every down player. What I mean by that is you could put him in a 7-9, head up on a 5. You could play him in a 34-43. I've never seen him stand up, so I don't know if he can do that. But the only reason he's not a first rounder is because of that catastrophic knee injury. And he knew who he was because he played during he was at Seattle, I think, or somewhere else. But they were thinking of drafting him. And he knew him obviously from Florida State. Clint went to Miami. And he goes, what do you make? I go, if you lower his reps, he's a productive kid. He really is. But they had no help at depth at the corners. And to me, if you're going to put him in a nickel package, dude, make sure you put him in the wide side of the field. Give him some room to operate out there. I thought that Desai had him on the short side of the field, and it kept him contained a lot. And I thought also that he had trouble, and I think they thought he had trouble setting the edge a couple times. But what they would do is they were putting tight ends on him over on that side, and they were chipping onto the backer because the backers were not that good. And so Clint's like, that's what we saw on film. And so I said, yeah, I might even think of moving him around from the strong side end to the weak side end because he is your best player. Right. I think you got to lower his reps. I go, I mentioned your name to him. I go, my guy told me he played like almost 300 reps more than he's ever played in his career. He's like, wow. He goes, have you ever heard of that? I go, I've never heard of a guy playing 300 more reps. I've never heard of that. Okay. Yeah. And his production went down. Dude, you know what everyone thinks? If you play a lot of reps, that means you're really good. If you play a lot of reps and you're a big player and you get hit in that game, I think it lowers your production. And I think it lowers the impact of your production when you're playing that volume of plays late in the season and you get worn out.
Yeah, it's rare. It's rare where you have a guy who can just stay on the field like a Max Crosby. He's a rare bird. He's Absolutely. Rare. Aaron Donald, he's a rare bird.
But you remember something about Max Crosby and why Max Crosby can play the amount of plays he plays. Why do you think that is, Tone? They're constantly playing from behind, so they're in 3rd and long. And he's in 3rd down. He's not in 1st and 2nd down. He's not playing against high-volume run teams. You're constantly playing behind the sticks. So what is it? Watch this. You're playing a guy who's going to throw the ball 30 times. against you. So you got less contact and impact reps coming at you versus a guy like in the NFC East. Dude, people are going to run the ball. New York runs the ball. Washington runs the ball. Dallas runs the ball. Everybody in the NFC runs the ball. In the AFC, they throw the ball. You have lower impact plays coming at you when you are a pass rusher. I mean, I'm not saying he's not in shape and he's not like a rare – he is. That's why he's one of the top 3 edge rushers. Still, Josh Sweat had a lot of double teams, people running at him. So it just – they just need to help him more.
Yeah, he went like 5 straight weeks, six straight weeks without a sack. I mean, that's unacceptable.
It's totally unacceptable. That's also, I think, the scheme and putting him in bad position too. But
agreed.
The Will linebacker, Cunningham. You know what? I'll tell you what about Cunningham. Watching him on the 22 a couple nights ago, do I want him on the team? I'll keep him on the team for depth, but I got to replace him.
He can't be my number 1 linebacker.
He can't be my starter.
Can't.
He's got to be my special teams guy.
Because, like, you know, like if I'm being fair to him, he was okay. He was okay, but in a room full of
student.
Yeah, but you know, in a room full of trash cans, what was he? You know, a lawn chair. You know, he was. You know what I mean? He's
a C student.
Yeah.
Okay, Shaq Leonard's out.
Yeah. That was a terrible experiment.
Okay, he's out. Nakobe Dean cannot start, but I'll give. You know what I'll do? Nakobe, here's what I'm going to earn.
You got to earn it. You got to earn it.
You're going to compete. We're going to bring a guy in. We may even draft another guy in the 3rd round. And you 2 third rounders, you know that movie Batman when the Joker breaks his stick? There's one spot open.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay, and there's 3 of them, and he throws the stick there, and he goes like this. Make it
you
short.
Guys, you guys figure it out.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking at.
What I don't like how they talk about Nakobe Dean as if he's a 1st round pick. That's how they talk about him. And my thing is, he was a 3rd round pick. Y'all giving him more reverence than y'all did Davion Taylor.
You know why they're doing it? You know why the Eagles are doing that? They don't want to lower his value. They want to keep the value up. That's why they talk highly of him.
It's ridiculous. It's hilarious.
It's not true, but right.
It's hilarious. You should have saw how they handled Davion Taylor. They had no problem putting him on the practice squad. They had no problem dropping him. They had no problem doing anything with that man. He was a 3rd round pick like Nakobe Dean, but since Nakobe Dean went to Georgia, they give him more reverence, more leash.
No, because they thought they got a steal.
They thought they got a steal. Okay.
Yep.
He got to stay healthy first, and we'll find out if he was still or not.
Reddick has to be restructured for me to want him back.
It has to.
Again, because you don't have anybody. And your market value is not high. We talked about this, so I'm not going to go into detail more. But to me, I don't think he has leverage.
The only leverage Hassan Reddick has is the fact that Nolan Smith didn't prove that he was ready. That's the only leverage he has.
And the majority of the edge rushers that are free agents are old. 33, 34, 33.9.
Yeah. Yeah, guys that have guys that have a resume. Guys that have a resume at least.
Yeah. Bradbury's a restructure. Do you want him back? You know, honestly, Rob, you know what? Let me say something to you that I heard Rob say that may have been the best take I've ever heard him say. You cut that guy, it sends a message to the rest of the locker room.
I loved when he said that. I love when Rob said that.
I hadn't thought that before, but it would. If you cut that guy, not just your defensive side of the ball, it would send a message of authority in the building that this isn't all about dollars and cents, because you would change the dynamic of going, well, they robbed Peter to play Paul on the defensive side to pay all these guys on offense. Mm-hmm. If you cut that, but the only problem that you would have, though, with that theory, and I love the take, is this. Oh, of course they're going to cut the guy on defense. They'd never cut one of them dudes on offense.
Who we cut?
No.
Not saying you, but like I'm trying to think, who could we cut on offense? Like to that point, like who's cut worthy?
Dallas Goedert.
Ooh, what's that dead cap hit? I don't know. I don't
I
know.
know he makes 15 or 12.
Let me find out what that dead cap hit is real quick before I jump out the window. Hold on. Let me see something. What's that dead
They
cap
won't
hit?
cut Goddard, but they're going to cut my boy over here. Okay.
All right. So this season, Dallas Goedert has a dead cap hit of $22.3 million.
For tight end?
Whereas James Bradbury has a dead cap hit of let me make sure I got this right, $17.2 million.
Oh.
So I'm
So
cutting Listen, I'm cutting Bradbury. I don't want any parts of the man.
See, Tone saving that offensive side of the ball. This guy's prejudiced towards his defensive guys. See this guy over here, man? This is what goes on in the locker room. Watch this.
Yo.
See this dude, man? This dude's over here. He's on the knees of the offensive
I forgot.
guys.
I forgot that you were
here, man. We're just the poor folk over here on this side of the ball. He wants to
got you figured out.
High-end guys.
I get it now.
Like he wants to hang out with the Cristal guys. Me and you are drinking Aste Spumante over here.
Well, we don't drink Cristal. We drink Ace of Spades. But you know, but I get it.
Oh, you're gonna cut the defensive guys. All right.
No. I got you figured out now, Sills. Now I get it. You former DT defensive guy. That's why you go so hard on these offensive guys, man. Oh. Now I get it. Listen, Eagles fans, we figured it out now. Keep in mind, Sills is a defensive guy, so he's gonna rip these offensive guys any chance he gets. Keep that in mind, you guys.
It only took you 2 years.
Hey, listen, the defensive guys know the hot chicks want to hang out with the offensive guys. They know that.
I hate offensive guys. I do, man. I can't stand those prima donna, big paid money guys because all the millionaires are in the O-line.
Yeah.
Because there's 5 of them. Right? And I'm like, pay the running back, pay the quarterback, pay the O-line, pay the receivers. Now, Tone wants to cut one of my guys in the secondary. Silsey sucked. I know, but still.
So what's your game plan for Bradbury? What's your game plan?
You're right. Get his ass out of there.
Because I know you're not really fully in agreement with this, but I'm totally ready to go through growing pains with that defense. Get younger, get faster.
But Tone, watch this when you say this. Cut Bradbury, Birds out. Blankenship can't be a starter. So you're going to replace with youth and out in the market 3 of your 4 secondary guys. And you're going to go to a new year with that.
You said something interesting, right? At the end of the day, cutting Bradbury, as bad as he was, at the end of the day, if you cut him, that actually adds another thing on your to-do list. You have to find a replacement for that.
Yeah.
So it's easy to say, oh, cut a guy. It's easy to say that. But when you really think about it critically, if you cut a guy, now you got to replace him. And that begs the question, is that a problem the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to fix this offseason? Because in my opinion, you cut Bradbury, you draft the corner in the first round, call it a day. That's my perspective. 8 to 17 million. It is what it is. Y'all been paying Alshon Jeffrey for the past 6 years. Y'all be all right. You know what I mean? So, but again, that's my perspective. And it's maybe that's the reason why I'm not in the building with those guys, because I might fuck up the books. You never know.
Hey, I like your thinking. By the way, I'm going on with Colarulo tomorrow, and I told him the only way that I'm going on your show is if I get lawyer consultation fees for free for the rest of my life. I was like, it's the only way I'm going on, man. And,
well, Paisan to Paisan.
No, that's the only reason. I'm very partial to Italians. And of course, Tone, you're a Paisan too. So as far as I'm concerned,
I appreciate that. I'll take it.
Okay, yeah, no. Hey, man, the brothers and Italians, I think we're all from the same mom, so we're all good. So Colarulo gets a pass because he's a Paisan, and he's got something to offer me because you never know. I'm Italian. I may need a call in the middle of the night for something, so I need to have some consulting fees waived on me.
We're going to see some headlines with Sills putting somebody in the headlock.
Hey, no, we get this. My wife and I have a bondsman. His name is Dino. What is it? No, it's Vito something.
Oh, that's all I needed to know.
The name of the guy.
That's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed. His first name is Vito. That's all I needed to hear.
His name is Vito, and he's a bail bondsman. He's one of our...
Listen. Vito the bail bondsman.
Vito the bail bondsman.
That just sounds...
Colarulo the lawyer. So I could Colarulo the lawyer and veto the bondsman.
That sounds like something out of a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Right. I'm ready to roll, man. I'm ready to rock here. Tone, appreciate it, my friend.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
You got it, man. All right, folks. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.